I'm just confirming that this didn't need to be me. Sorry.
All right, I guess we're live. Marco talking through the intro. It is the biggest week we have had so far this year in comics. Uh, both Marvel and DC coming out the gate double barreled with some really great books. And top of the heap is the return of the King, Jim Lee, and Jeph Loeb's there too. For
Oof.
Batman Hush.
Return of the King. I'm like, oh, we got Kirby back somehow? Jeez,
I
okay.
went, I
Oh,
went, are we calling the Martian Manhunter the king?
No. We have a full house on deck today. We've got Cale,
What's up, hot dogs?
Marco,
Talking through the intro.
Tyler,
Guten Tagen. I got nothing.
and I'm Sean. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Whether you are live or in the future, make sure you smash that like button if you
Smash.
enjoy what we do. We have already gotten some love from Hayden's Hideout with
Wow.
$15 in super chats before we even went live. Thank you so much, Hayden. He
Damn.
says, "Hey pals, this pick of the week was split between Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Martian Manhunter, but I ultimately decided on Manhunter. I really loved how it showcased someone after an accident, imagining and being stuck in a different world. It's like a soldier whose mind is stuck on a battlefield even after the war is over. You're home, but not really home." Thank you, Hayden. That's a thoughtful comment. We'll be talking about that book more later. Hayden, though, referencing a couple of books that we're going to be reviewing here today, we've got
I count them.
six of this week's biggest releases. We've got Batman number 158, aka Hush Tua number 1. We've got Absolute Wonder Woman number 6.
Jenny Frison cover?
Absolute. Sorry?
You got that Woman's Month variant, right?
Yes, I did.
Yes,
I
you did.
definitely did. Absolute Martian Manhunter number 1.
Oh,
Oh, we all
interesting.
read it
Oh, look at
physically.
that.
Look at that.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
That's a first.
What's going on here?
Holy
and
shit.
Kale's is
Ooh.
foil.
I
think Cale has this
I
on.
sprung a little bit. This is the only cover I liked for number 1.
Oh, trust me, I sprung reading this too, Cal.
Hey.
Superman number 24. That's the listener pick this week. Ultimate Spider-Man 15. And last but not least, Uncanny X-Men number 12. As you can see, that both companies put out some heavy hitters, and unfortunately left on the cutting room floor this week are indies. We gave you a chance, though. The poll exists. You failed. You voted Superman.
You fucked up.
Yes.
Listen,
it's
what are we supposed to
democracy.
do?
Yeah.
We've got to, we're just like capitalism. We have to go where the dollar takes us.
And all you third-party voters who voted for something other than Superman or the indie book, you're part of the problem.
Exactly. And
Two-
speaking of where the money is, big time money in Batman Hush Tua. This book brought all the boys to the yard of my LCS. And I mean, we know the 400K pre-orders. So let's talk about the book. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? It was all a hype. Worth it. Jeph Loeb, Jim Lee, writer and artist pair on the original Hush, of course. I think the gang's all here, I think, because they got Alex and Claire on the colors. We've got Richard Starking on the letters, Scott Williams on the inks. It's been what, 22 years since Hush, something like that. 23
it's been
years.
enough, that's for sure. It's definitely been enough.
Been a very long time, and this is the official sequel. All that other what was it, Paul Dini, whoever did that Heart of Hush, all that, nah. This is the sequel.
The good one?
Yeah. And this book, it's very basic. The Joker is back at it again. Batman is out to stop him. We've got a bunch of cameos pretty much right out the gate. Someone I don't even know if this is a new character or an old character. Hush is here. He's got a heavy silencer, or whatever his name is. Nightwing is here. Batgirl's here. Talia al Ghul. Again, it's a smorgasbord of cameos, just like the original Hush, as it sort of sets up this mystery. Who has framed the Joker? Um, it's not really even much of a mystery though, because by the end we know, Batman knows, it's Hush. What did you guys make of this intro to the highly anticipated sequel?
So I'll go first because right before we started the show, um, right before I hit the go live button, I can see the thumbnail for the show. And I saw the thumbnail and I saw this Batman cover. And I was like, oh, fuck, did I forget to read something? And I realized, oh, no, I did read this. I didn't like it. It was forgettable. That's how I felt with this issue. I had no real excitement going into it. And then once I was done with the issue, I was like, yeah, that's about what I expected. It didn't, it was serviceable. Like the Jim Lee art is good. I do not like Alex Sinclair coloring Jim Lee. I've had that gripe with him ever since Jim Lee did some New 52 stuff and post that. I think the colors are just so they're flat. There's no dynasticism to it. What's the word there? I don't know.
Dynamicism.
Dynamicism. Thank you, Cal. You do words for a living. And there is just a lack of that with the colors, and it just makes Jim Lee's art just feel static, and it looks like I'm just constantly blanking and just getting quick snippets of movement, and there's actually no movement on the page. This was fine. The Jeph Loeb story too. I think there's more exciting stuff happening in that Long Halloween stuff we're dealing with, where this just feels like, all right, this is summer blockbuster in March.
I was excited mostly for the art, and this felt direct, like straight to the point. No need to have any kind of fuss. Plays with the expectation because people do know what this is about. People do know that this is, we're coming back to this a lot for a lot of folks. So from that end, I feel like Jeff played it straight. Like he wasn't going to deviate too much here, but I think he should have. I think he should have done something a little more flashy, a little more, to maybe not to get me in the door, but maybe to get a new reader to the door because there were a lot of nods to older things. But I mean, this this wasn't bad. This wasn't good, or this wasn't great. But it was. I I think it gets you from point A to point B in a straightforward manner, and I think that that's okay for a story like this. And I thought that Jim Lee's art was strong. Still got it. It's good to see it.
Hush was one of my very first DC books. Hush was the book that got me into DC. So I have read Hush probably more than any other Batman book that I've ever read. The first issue is Batman systematically taking down a kidnapping cartel and beating the living shit out of Killer Croc. And it is the coolest intro. This is worlds away from that. I wanted to feel that same intrigue, because it in the first one, like you're in his POV and you're seeing like his heads up gear, and it's just so cool. But this it I think I agree with Marco. Like it harkens back to a lot with like the laughing fish and the history with Talia all at the same time, but at the same time, like Batman has a difficult run of it already, and like if this is supposed to be like our experienced modern Batman, and he's getting, taken out by his own helmet, like what 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 are we seeing here from what's come before? Like in Zdarsky's, 157, or right, he beat the living shit out of so many people, and there was character growth. It it felt like there was nothing here.
Felt like this sequel takes place like, years before the original Hush in some ways, in terms of like where Batman's at.
Or even 10 minutes later. Like,
Yeah. I thought this was fun. I didn't have like high expectations of some crazy great story. I was excited to see the Jim Lee art. And I think Jeph Loeb actually somehow delivered less than I was expecting because I didn't like the dialogue. That was my biggest problem. Like I knew it was going to be some random reason why Hush was back and blah blah blah. But I just thought the dialogue didn't really work. Like the scene with Nightwing and Batgirl had very awkward, not true to character dialogue on Nightwing's part, I thought. Jeph was trying to be funny with the character, but it just kind of came off as like a little bit unbothered in a way that didn't ring true on Nightwing.
It's like when you have that coworker who tries to be funny and he's just like buddy, that's just not your forte. You don't need, just stop it. Not everyone needs to be funny. It's fine. If you're not good at it, don't do it. Yeah, I found the dialogue to be a little heavy too. Even like when Talia saves Batman from the water. It's like, all right, what year is it? What am I reading right now? It feels of a time. And that's why I think my overall opinion on this is just like I was whelmed the entire issue. Not under, not over, perfectly whelmed.
Yeah.
It was nice to see Jim Lee again, though, man. Like I think his Batman looks awesome. His Joker looks awesome. There's an Ashcan edition getting around that strips the colors, and I think it strips the words too, like the letters, and it's gorgeous, man. I almost wish I had that in my hands.
I would prefer a black and white, honestly, I think.
especially if the words were gone.
Honestly, you take the words away and you don't lose much.
Yeah. Which is, you know what? Good communication on Jim Lee's part. He knows how to do it.
Sure.
He knows what he's doing.
And like I just feel like the whole thing with Hush, one, is there's a mystery there. There's no mystery with the thing called Hush 2. Hush is a known quantity at this point. He gets revealed immediately, even though they're still shrouding him in like just over the shoulder things. We don't see his, like, we know who he is. There's been tons of stories with Hush at this point. I just don't know what the legs are for this story. It's and is the plot just Hush is gonna fuck with Batman? Is that the story?
That's what it seems like. And
I mean, that's what Hush 1 was.
But at least
Yeah.
it was a question mark of who he is and the
Right.
relationship between him and Bruce. It's all known
No.
at this point. Where's the story? I guess the Silence. He said his name was Silence, right, Sean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a new character. I looked him up. This is his first official appearance. So like maybe there's mystery there. I don't know. I'm not intrigued enough to care about that though.
But he's like a guy. He's just like a goon.
He's just a
that's,
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he's maybe he'll have something to do, but he's not a mastermind in the way that Hush is and just presumably presented to be. So he's just the strong arm for him. So I don't know that he's even gonna be relevant that much. And yeah, the last page in the framing, or the last 3 pages, where it's just like this was never about the Joker. He was only a pawn. I was like, wait, this wasn't about the Joker even at the beginning. Like, yeah, he's doing dastardly shit, but your whole mission's on like crime or whatever, not about the Joker. What does it matter that at the end Hush is returned? And then he laughs about it. Like he's looking for a challenge. Ah. Odd framing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like on one hand, I'm kind of glad they got all the bullshit out of the way, like the Joker. They didn't like, yeah, they kind of flirted with, oh, who's gonna be revealed, but Hush is on the cover, and so we got that all done. So hopefully the next issue and beyond can just do whatever the point of this is, assuming there is a larger point. But I gotta say, man, I could stand to look at Jim Lee's art happily and not get on here and complain for the next 5 months or whatever it's going to be.
Be looking for those black and white ash cans.
Searching, rummaging.
I think it's still a pass for me though.
What?
Like I had this physically in my hand, and I was like, yeah, I don't care to own this physically. I'm good.
This is going on the apartment table that sits outside.
But yeah, you bring that to your dentist's office and leaving it on the table there.
Wow.
Yeah. Ouch. Yeah. It's a pull. It's going on the table. I'm not keeping it, but it's a pull.
It's a pass for me. Like I'm sorry, it's not even the Jim Lee art is worth it for me here.
I'm a pull. It's not a strong one because I mean, like even our review, there's not a lot of material in the book to talk about. It's just it's more like moments and set up to something that it doesn't really frankly even need to be set up. Um I am here for the Jim Lee art. Jeph Loeb has something in the tank. I know he does because the Long Halloween, Last Halloween stuff has been quite good. So hopefully we get to see more of that version of Jeph Loeb instead of this. But I gotta be honest, the dialogue in this really didn't give me a lot of hope for the future.
This is 6 issues,
The first
First
part
arc.
is 6 issues, yeah.
and then we get the fraction stuff.
Then we get Fraction. Then at some point down the road, we will get the rest of this.
Uh,
Lee's got to draw it.
great.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
at least that chip run, we got to talk about it. we had thoughts on it. This
know what?
feels like a big brain off situation with this book.
Matt Fisher with the 4.99. Batman was lame. Nothing happened, and Jim Lee seemed like he was imitating himself. No energy at all. Won't be continuing.
Eviscerated by Matt Fisher. Love to see it.
Damn, dude.
Jesse with the 9.99. Favorite part of the week, Pals pulls. Thank you, Jesse. That's really nice of you. Thank you so
Wow.
much. Hayden's Hideout with another $5. Gooner pick of the week. Justice League Unlimited number 5. Nathan Zerdy variant. What can I say? I'm a Zatanna and Hawkgirl simp. Well, geez, now it's time for the part of the show where we need to see what the fuck you're talking about. See that
Everybody
cover.
opens up
I
League
already,
of Comics.
I already
Beats.
looked it up at this point.
I got it. It's good. Hey,
Oh wow.
it's good.
I love how unashamed Hayden is at this. Just like, you know what,
Don't-
I'm good. I'm simping.
Don't ever change.
Thankfully, we're not on Twitch. That's banned, right?
Don't ever change because I need to see these covers.
Hell yeah, Hayden. We need you for this.
Ay caramba.
Matt Fisher with another 199. Batman didn't fall from Pluto safely. 1 out of 5. It's a reference to the Chip Zdarsky run, I guess. And then Jesse Verdugo. 2 Jessies. Double dose of Jesse with the 4.99. Says best part of this issue was the yacht Jim Lee drew on Talia.
I got it up. Should I show it?
Wait, okay.
It
You
was
can't say
focused.
I
Sure,
got
yeah.
it up right after that super chat.
No, stop. Yeah.
Damn. All right. Well, there goes our monetization. Appreciate that, Marco.
Shout out to the Gooners in the audience.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you for all the super chats.
Monster Design said, I can't pass. I'm a BBL, Barbara Batgirl lover. I didn't realize they had so many Batgirl fans in DR.
They're worldwide. Casbot says, hello, everyone. Today just so happens to be my birthday. Well, Casbot, happy birthday to you, friend. Thank you for choosing to hang out with us for a little bit on your birthday, man. What are you doing? What are you doing for your birthday, aside from listening to us?
I got a good question here from Steve Canaris. Is Lee now better than Jorge Jimenez? I'm not sure he is. And I would agree with you.
I mean, I
It's
don't
based on
see
preference.
a reason. I don't see a reason to compare artists in that way, especially not somebody who is, outside of their prime. Like, yeah. Let Jim Lee in 2025.
It's like a LeBron versus Michael Jordan situation in their primes.
Yeah, like that's like comparing Michael Jordan at the end of his career with the fucking Bobcats or whatever to LeBron, 10 years ago. I'm not interested in that. Batman Hush 2 though. You guys voted. You voted and 53% of you said pull. 25% said pass. 18% said didn't buy or read. 3% said pick of the week. Thank you guys for voting. Um, Interesting how you guys passed this book through despite some of the criticisms we've seen and that we had.
You be pulled? How the
Yeah,
audience
yeah,
pulled? Yeah.
yeah.
That's a pretty intense split between pull and pass didn't buy.
But noticeable that it's not anybody's pick of the week. Like 2 people.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see how that. We had Adam Freeman on the other day on the main show, and I'm curious to see what the discrepancy is going to be between pre-order and sales on this one.
Oh, well, I mean, it's gonna sell like crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually surprised of a couple things here. How little variants there were.
Hmm.
If this was like, I'm looking at League of Comic Geeks, and there's what, half dozen for this in the year 2025.
Half dozen.
Oh wait, hold on. Nope, my thing didn't load up. Okay, I see them now. All right, I called it. Yeah, there's about 20 of them. I lied.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you being with us. We've got so many more books to talk about. It doesn't stop with Jim Lee and Jeph Loeb. Thank you to the 80 plus of you that are hanging out. I want to make sure you guys know that this Saturday the show is live at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys come hang out with us for that. You probably saw that the Avengers Doomsday cast, some of the cast, was rolled out the other day. We're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about a lot of things this Saturday. So that's just one of the many things we've got to talk about. Diamond was sold, so we're going to talk about that. Big news on the Diamond front for those of you who are interested in the industry news and stuff like that. And then also Jeff Johns month next month. That's April. So get your nominations in for your favorite Jeff Johns book. Just nominate one book. A lot of you put out 2, 3 noms. We can't use that.
I saw a nomination for his Booster Gold run, and I was like, oh hell
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
I didn't even know that existed.
I totally forgot about it. It like unlocked a memory. I was like, oh yeah, that was a thing. It was like during the
Crazy.
OMAC era of stuff.
I still have the Brian Michael Bendis reading order, and seeing the nominations come through for Jeff Johns is making me realize, damn, these guys were just prolific at the time, and there's such a volume gap for me with these two kind of creators.
They were going back to back. They really were. They put their respective companies on their shoulders in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
So get those nominations in on Patreon for free. Get them in on YouTube under the post tab. Get them in on Discord. Wherever you get them in, we'll collect them. And then next week, you will be able to find out the final 4 books to make the poll that you guys can vote on to determine which book will be the winner. So lots of fun to be had there as well. Let's get into the next book. I'm excited. I'm excited for the show today. There's some great books to talk about. Let's talk about Absolute Wonder Woman number 6. This was written by Kelly Thompson with guest artist Matea De Luis. Letters by Becca Carey. Now, issue 5 ended the first arc with Wonder Woman being sucked into hell, sucked from the earth into hell. And this issue essentially shows us her interaction with Hades, and she goes on an adventure. She meets Prometheus, who is in a very precarious situation. It shows us how she got Pegasus. That was a flashback sequence, but we flash back to how she got her Pegasus. We see her face down a basilisk. It just shows you a lot of like the adventures that she has had in the past, how she got some of her gear and stuff. As she has this conversation with Hades. Marco, what do you think about Absolute Wonder Woman 6?
I had fun with it. I think it because it felt like a series of adventure stories. This is just what she does. This is what she's done in the past. This is what she will likely do in the future. Um, yeah, it was a strong read. I didn't necessarily. The art felt, and I don't mean this like negatively. It didn't. It wasn't on the same level. It was so different, starkly different, that I felt like I I had to reset. This is the strongest I've ever felt. Like such a discrepancy between art styles. Um, I didn't buy. That I had to like take a step back. Remember, okay, this isn't German. Let's jump in with it. But outside of that, it was a fun romp.
I like this a lot, but I'm with you, Marco, in the sense that like I love Hayden Sherman and what they were doing, and 5-1. And I love Mateo de Ulis. They are very different artists. And I think there was a good couple pages where I needed to like recalibrate. Um, like once Diana takes off her gear and you see her in the absolute Wonder Woman, but rendered in a completely different way than I'm used to seeing her, that kind of recalibrated me. Um, and then once that happened, I was in for the ride. I enjoyed it. Kelly is doing here what I'd love Wonder Woman comics to do, and that's to lean into weird Greek mythology. That's
Yeah,
my sweet spot when it comes to Wonder Woman. I know everyone wants to, make her, human and bring her to, have a rogues gallery on in the US or whatever. I love Greek mythology Wonder Woman. And Kelly leans into it heavily. Once we got to that smutty page of Mount Prometheus, uh just shirtless and it shows like, oh, we're gonna get into that side of Greek mythology. This is the guy that brought fire to humanity and was chained up and is eaten by birds the rest of his life for eternity. And have him give Diana a boon with gifting of Pegasus and all that. This is like heroic journey. This is all the stuff that I really enjoy about Greek mythology in a DC comic. And I haven't seen that since Cliff Chang and Azzarello, really. It's been kind of put to the wayside since then. And I'm totally cool with Absolute Wonder Woman kind of really stepping her foot in that realm. Even the design of like Hades, it's not, it's humanoid, but it's not human. It is wild looking. It kind of has like a bit of the Disney Hades, just the blue fire
yeah.
and all that. I'm like, okay, cool. I can see that as an extrapolation. It's almost like absolute Disney Hades. Um, and I was into it. Yeah, I really like this issue. I'm excited to see what Deulis does story wise. But I'm also worried that once Hayden's back, I'm gonna need to recalibrate again because it is wildly different.
It felt like uh these are the quests that she takes, like if you're getting level ups in a video game. And to your point, that's why I liked the Azzarello stuff, the Cliff Chang stuff. This is Wonder Woman, but like God of War, and you're getting
Yeah, it's
your
God of War.
your buffs and shit.
Yeah, I also obviously really really like this. Absolute Wonder Woman has been my top pick of these books. Um, I I didn't have to take as long to adjust to the art. I for me the difference between who was it, Jorge Fornes and I always forget that guy's name. Who's on Absolute Batman? Nick Dragata. Thank
Dragoda.
you.
Yeah.
Um, uh, that was a wild jump too, but it was short and it was purposeful and impactful. You know, and this to me is this will be the same. It's one of two parts, and it leans into Matea's strengths. So I was very into it. I thought the story, like has already been said, was a lot of fun. I didn't expect a good turn from Prometheus, which I also really enjoyed. I thought that his portrayal here was something different. He was amused by Diana, which I really, really enjoyed. A lot of people are either fight her or honor her or whatever, and he was like, "Oh, I like you," and I thought that was cool. Yeah, this ruled.
This was amazing. It was absolutely phenomenal. Mattia is an absolute beast on art. I remember when he did the Birds of Prey in Batman. I think it was like a couple of back pages of Batman or something like that, where the birds were on Themyscira, and he drew that Barda. Oh my god. Unbelievable. And the call was brilliant too. So being able to have Mattia back with Kelly was great. And like this is how Wonder Woman looks to me. This is Wonder Woman. Like big body, you know, beautiful woman, crazy big landscapes. Like this is what I want to see. I could not get over this. Look how cool that is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just this massive mountain man attached to a mountain and tiny little Wonder Woman, but big Wonder Woman standing, looking at this and then having to make the journey there. It's just like, this is the big like adventure that I want. I was so frustrated from 1 to 5 with the static element of this book, and taking it to hell and letting us see a few of her adventures, seeing her intelligence, how she beats the basilisk with magic. The interaction with Prometheus, the dialogue there was great. I really loved every single thing about this issue. And I don't want to say that I wish that Mateo was the main artist on this book, but I think I want to say that. Not to denigrate Hayden, but because this kind of art style just feels so appropriate for Wonder Woman, but we don't really get it. And like this is what I love. This was brilliant.
One thing about Mateo's art that I like, and I think you can really only do when you work digitally, is this sense of depth that he can do because of the way he can blur foreground and background digitally. Like if you bring up that page, Sean, with Wonder Woman in the foreground and Prometheus in the background, there's a haziness, there's a blurriness almost between the two that adds like a real cinematic scope to it.
Yeah.
That
The
it,
color too.
yeah, the color for sure. But I think that's just hard to do traditionally, and I think that's a benefit of a kind of a digital style of art.
And I like that it was rendered like that. I think I think that Wonder Woman's just so flexible. You can have her in any kind of style, and she fits the mold because I feel like she's adaptable like that. Like I hear you, Sean, that you can see her like this, and this is kind of like the preferred style. And in that same breath, I feel like my version is Cliff Chang, which can kind of fit alongside Sherman to some degree. Like she's so malleable because she's just badass.
And you can tell any kind of story, I think, with Wonder Woman. There aren't really too many story constraints with the character, which is why I'm surprised we always see the same damn shit. um but I like that we now have Hades. We've got sort of an antagonist. The book desperately needed somebody who could talk to be an antagonist, and so I really like the fact that we've got that now. um And even though a lot of this was flashbacks, we managed to get the action that we needed alongside the big talky pieces as well. So I really have no criticism of this book at all. I thought this was fantastic.
And kind of a little bit of a sidebar, but if you like this team, Kelly and Mattia, they've done a lot of stuff together. I wanted to shout out their Jessica Jones run. We just did the book club for Bendis's Alias, but those two worked on Jessica Jones, and it's really good. So if you're a fan,
wow.
I know some people are like, we're unfamiliar with Mattia's work in the chat here. So there's a lot of stuff that even these two have worked on together that I would highly recommend.
They've also got that image book, right?
The Call,
Call.
yeah.
The Cull. That's what it is.
This was nearly my pick of the week, almost on art alone. There's just some other incredible books in the pile, but on most other weeks, this was untouchable. I have so many good feelings. I was so excited reading this. Man, I can't wait for the second one, for the second piece of this arc.
Yeah. Not my pick of the week, but definitely a pull for sure.
Strong. Yeah.
Yeah, strong pull.
Look at her abs, guys.
Misheard
Holy
that.
shit.
Yo, that little V, like the V, that
Okay,
cut.
all right. The cum gutters. All right, we don't need to.
Whoa.
That's a term.
It's a
Okay,
term, I guess.
all right. Self-report from me.
I mean, listen, we've been doing this for 10 years. We've said cum gutters on the show before.
Let's see what you guys have to say on Absolute Wonder Woman. It seems like the response is really positive. Pull is 65%, pick of the week is 13%. Didn't buy or read is 13%, and pass is 6%. So largely you guys are feeling this issue of Absolute Wonder Woman.
Matt Fisher with the 199 super chat. Are her three lassos red, white, and blue? Can't remember. They are yellow, red, and black. If I
Like a
remember correctly.
Green.
Oh, a green one.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
it's
that
like
green?
It's
I thought that was yellow.
It's red, blue, and green. It's like a light green.
Does that get called out?
She uses
There's
it in the previous arc.
Right.
Yeah, that's her transmogrify one.
Yeah,
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
That's so sick, dude. Like, she has a fucking inventory.
Yo, right?
Come on, man.
I want a
Legend of
variant
Zelda
cover
shit.
that is just a take on the Resident Evil inventory screen with her gear. Somebody do that variant.
Yeah.
Yo, man, this character. I can't wait to go to Comic-Con. I want to see the cosplay.
All right. Well, this is Gooner show of the week.
Didn't you just say cum gutter? Are you
I might
kidding
have.
me? The fuck?
I might have.
Oh man. What do you guys say in the chat? Comic Boom says, if you guys have not already had the chance, check out Kelly Thompson's The Call. Yes, The Call is phenomenal. Really, really, really love it. I highly recommend it, and I hope we get a sequel. Munster Design says the style is so different. Tonally, it would be a whole other book if this was main art. Really good choice for the Hell arc, but Hayden is doing something special in a different way. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
This would be like epic fantasy, we're out in the wilds of whatever, the Mascara, or maybe we're
80s.
Hey, yeah, sure, yeah, chill here.
The underworld.
Hell yeah. Movie Magic says, just new to comics, sub to loads of comic channels and podcasts. I need to read me some Daredevil. Well, Movie Magic,
Hell yeah.
Thank you for arriving here. Appreciate you. Daredevil, though, there's a lot of great Daredevil comics.
We did a book club a couple months back. It's in the feed of Brew Baker's story, The Devil in Cell Block D, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So if you want a single standalone story to pick up, that's probably a good recommendation. Current run, I don't know. There's a new Daredevil book coming out next week. Maybe check that out if you want like weekly comics.
You have the benefit, Movie Magic, of decades and decades and decades of great, great Daredevil stories. Daredevil is one of the best written characters in the history of comics. So do your deep dive, brother. You will not be disappointed. I guarantee it.
Yep.
Philosopher King says, no one can tell me that comics are bad with weeks like this. Comics are better than I can ever remember. Hell
Just
yeah.
good,
It's
just
hard to
good
argue with.
comics, man.
Yeah, hard to argue with.
Love it. All right. Let's get into the book that everybody's been talking about this week. I don't think there's anybody who hasn't had something to say about Absolute Martian Manhunter #1. This is written by Dennis Camp with art by Javier Rodriguez, colors as well. Hassan Atzman Al How on the letters. This is a book that feels probably, I think it's fair to say, the most radical of all the Absolute books that we have gotten thus far, which shouldn't come as a surprise. It's got the least popular titular character, and it was billed originally as a miniseries. It will probably still be a miniseries, just a longer one because it was bumped from 6 to 12, announced today, I believe. And it follows a detective named John, who, or I believe his name is John.
John Jones.
Joe,
Yeah.
yeah, John Jones, who was in an explosion. Something bad happened, and he is suffering the negative effects of that incident that have him experiencing the world in a way that nobody else is. And there appears to be some kind of potentially alien influence over his mind that is giving him powers, fucking up his worldview, and more. Cale, what did you think about the mind-bending Absolute Martian Manhunter?
Man, I open my page, my book. I'm opening it right now. And I looked at that first page and I went, "Oh, this is gonna rule." That first page is just so like it's so good. Like it's I looked at it and I went, imagine owning that.
Oh, damn.
Man.
Marco, can you show off that first page? Do you have the book in front of you? I know it's a little tricky for Cal. Yeah. Yeah, I showed it's on Pal's previews. I did show it on
Ugh.
that. So yeah.
Javier Rodriguez is on another level in this book. And I really love the way that the Martian is present in everything. And it's just like a matter of like working out his shape or where he's at and what's going on. But one thing I also really love is that this is Ultraman. An explosion happens and a guy almost dies, and then an alien comes and lives in his body, and now he's a superhero.
Good point. Yeah.
Fucking rules.
Targeted specifically for you.
Oh man. The colors in this are off the charts. I love that everybody has their own little stink lines, and you know they're all funny colors, and you know just everything is just expressed so well but so weird at the same time. One thing I noticed in particular was uh after the first visit when he goes back to work, he goes home and his wife is standing at the kitchen window, and the kitchen window is askew on the page. I thought that like it's such a rad um representation of like how normal it is, how normal things seem, but how weird they actually are. And we're in the middle of it and we're part of it.
That's interesting. That I was feeling like there's distance, right? Like, because he says, I drive by my house 3 times, not
Yeah.
recognizing it. We've lived here for almost a year. And then we're only viewing it from outside the window, but the text boxes are inside, the caption boxes are the outside. So in the relationship, there's distance, even though they're inside the home. It's not loving, it's not caring, or it's avoidant.
Yeah, absolutely.
There were so many instances of that from an art standpoint of just like the writing for sure. Even in the lettering. the wife and the squiggly boxes, the it felt like unassuredness, nervousness, doubt in just lettering.
And the story only solidifies that throughout, as we get slowly revealed more and more of the Martian, until the once he has that almost like a psychotic break, almost, where the art really kind of leans into the smoke and he starts seeing all the smoke and all that. I thought that was great. um and I feel like this book, in terms of like what is this book trying to say, I'm not sure I know yet, but I think there's a lot that I can see, and I think a lot of people will come about this book with different ideas on what it has to say. I think this is a good book to just, like, I don't know, interpret in your own way. Like, when I was reading this, the thing that jumped out to me was, um, there's this bit where the Martian kind of reveals himself, or at least he's talking directly with John, and he starts seeing the smoke and all these different types of smoke coming off of people. And that was, I guess, this version's way of showing off mind reading, or at least it's more of it, not a literal mind reading, but more like empathy mind reading.
The vibe
Um,
check.
Sort of, yeah. But it really was just like a guy who was so siloed in on his own stuff, his own work, his own job, and focusing on himself. He left his family alone, realizing that everyone else is the main character of their own story, and having that kind of just awaken, like just being awakened to that idea that it's not just him. Everyone is having a life, and he's seeing that, and he's and the faucet is turned on to him. That blew my mind. I was like, okay, this is almost like a, I don't know. It's almost like a one guy being awoken to class consciousness in a way, and realizing it's not just about him. And I guess knowing camp, I was looking for something like that too. So that's how I read it. But like, man, I just thought it was a great issue.
This was my pick of the week.
Easy.
This was unbelievable.
Yep.
I love, like, a good, alien story, especially, somebody becoming the host of something else, somebody becoming something other, somebody dealing with an extreme abnormal experience that causes them to lose their sense of reality. And that is all this book is. The art is phenomenal. I love a good mirrored couple of pages. You got, on the one end, everything's normal, then on the other side here you have everybody's funky and colored and weird. And this is a guy who is alien to the world, in the sense that he's alien to his family, he's alien to people around him, he's alienated, um as he deals with this, an alien becoming very close to him. It's a very, very interesting framing. And I felt like I was losing my fucking mind while I was reading this. Like, the more that the colors invade your space and take over the pages, and it gets weirder and weirder and weirder, things are happening out of order. Like, you're seeing panels that show you the explosion, um apropos of nothing. It's just there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's remembering that. He's thinking of that. This guy's going through a hell of a lot. And this was a really fun ride. It really, really was.
And I love how, like, traditionally John Jones is one being. It's a
Right.
Martian who takes the appearance of a human.
Yep.
It's two beings now. There is
Yep.
conflict inherent in that now,
Yep.
which I love. I think it's a great way of setting this up.
Yep.
Also, traditionally he's a detective, but making him this almost CIA agent to this weird Department of Truth style stochastic division leans into his power set. So I was like, all right, there's a great way to even tell the damn story. Um, there's just the whole premise of this. I'm so happy this is 12 issues. Give me more. But I
Yeah.
am in for the ride on this.
It gave me Vertigo vibes, Cave Carson, just like out there, you know what I mean? Like, just
Yeah.
like out there shit. And Doom Patrol, the what is it? Negative
Ooh.
Man. Like,
Yeah.
it was just a perfect flavor of all of those things. And the good thing about Camp is that he's thoughtful, right? So I think to Sean's point, you're descending. He's like fighting it off, staving off as much as possible the descent into madness. And this is him, like he's on a trip and he's just kind of like relinquishing himself to it as it comes, as it appears, and as those things unfold until that last page where finally he's like, oh shit.
I think this is what I wanted all of the absolute titles to be like. Like this is what I had in mind for, this alternate line. It's a different point of view on a character we know, but a real different angle. Our our view of the Martian Manhunter is the Martian, the actual alien, but Absolute is giving us the human, who melds with the alien, and that's a massive part of it. Um, and I thought it was funny, especially comparing it to the Flash last week, which was we all really we all liked it, but it was very across the plate. Like it was very origin story. I felt like this was origin at the same time, but like curveball extra, you know, 7-10 split down the third base line. Like I'm mixing my baseball metaphors here, obviously, but it's uh, an origin told in a wildly different way that's um, interesting.
I mean, we could talk about the elephant in the room. It changes the medium, and it uses the medium specifically, the paper medium.
Yeah.
That I mean, it's a spoiler for the last page, but there is a reason to get this physically that you do not get digitally. That I thought it blew my mind when I saw that. I avoided spoilers, only knowing that all right, something happens in this book.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking
Same.
at the spine. I'm like, is there a pullout? What's going on here?
Same.
Something's gonna happen, and nothing happens until the last page. And I did take a picture of it that I'm gonna put on the stream. So avert your eyes, I guess, if there's spoilers. But if you hold it up to the light, the image shows through the page and forms a full page of art, even though it's two separate pages. I have never seen that in a comic before.
Couldn't get that to work.
Really?
Yeah,
I was at a
Light wasn't
cafe.
bright enough, I guess.
maybe.
I had the bright big light at a cafe to help me out here.
Oh my God, Marco, why are you bending your book like that, bro?
Oh, I felt bad doing that too. Yeah, I had to. Maybe that's why you couldn't get to work, Sean. You were being too precious with the book.
Yeah, I would never do. That's the only way you can get it to.
I did have to pull back multiple pages.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it has to, like, this side of the page has to be facing the light so that this
Yeah.
gets illuminated on this end. The shadow has to seep through.
And he calls himself the Martian mindfucker. Hell yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah.
It sure seems like.
That's crazy, man. What is going on, dude?
And here's what
and-
here. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, here's what worries me about this book. Are they gonna do something weird like this in every single issue? Am I gonna have to buy this
No.
book physically?
I
Well,
doubt it.
maybe, but that's a first issue gimmick. There's no way
Ooh,
they'll
if they do it in
something
issue
like
2,
that.
though, that means they're doing it throughout.
Well, yeah,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I mean, that's a one-trick pony. Like,
Oh, I mean, they could do like the Court of Owls where you need to turn the book physically, or there's a pullout, or it reads horizontal. There are ways to play with the medium for sure.
but even Snyder only did that once.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I think what we're seeing with this wave of Absolute books, Flash less so, I guess, but this and certainly Absolute Green Lantern is a willingness to get weird. And I think if all the Absolute books were like this, it might be overwhelming and we might have sales issues. But DC letting Dennis Camp and Javier, take a big swing like this is how, like, there's no reason why we can't have things like this because a Martian Manhunter book's not going to sell really anyway. So if you're going to do one, do a weird one, and now because of the strength of commitment to the idea, the word of mouth, and everything else, this book has now been extended to 12 issues. So this is what can happen. You know, people are supporting it. The word of mouth is tremendous. I have a feeling this issue will sell really well, and now we're going to get more of it. So hats off to everybody who bought it.
And if you're like, I don't know, you're like, oh, I'm not a big Martian Manhunter fan. I'm gonna skip this. Don't give this one a shot. I think even if it's just like a property you don't care for, if the art maybe is not your thing off the bat, if based on the cover, just give it a shot. I think everyone can really like this book at some level.
I think the fact that all 4 of us got it physical, 2 rampant digital readers, then Cale.
You can't really go wrong. Like if you hate it, that's cool, but it's what is it? It's it's $4.99. It's a 4.99 shot. So if you hate it, you never have to read it again, but you are getting the pal's recommendation. You should probably pick this up if you haven't.
And this is a 4-way pick of the week.
Yeah.
There
Hey,
ain't many of those.
Stats nerds, have we had one of those yet?
This is the first of the year.
Yeah, okay.
Oh wow.
The first of the year.
I think I ruined it
Oh,
the
yeah.
last time we were close.
Well,
Yeah, I think so.
Each one of us has diverted from some amount.
I thought about it right before we started, because I felt strongly about a different book that has been so low performing. I was like, oh, I'll give it to him. I couldn't do it.
So that's a pick of the week across the board from us, but let's see what you guys have to say. 50% pick of the week. It's a big number. 41% said pull, didn't buy, read is 8%, pass is 0. That's interesting. Nobody in our audience who voted and read this passed on it.
That's wild.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, these are crazy
Yeah, I think
numbers.
that's the first time.
Wow. All right. We have an audience that recognizes quality. That's what I like to think.
You know, game.
You guys see a good book, you buy it.
Banksy Mains here said, this is my first time experiencing Javier Rodriguez's art. Absolutely stunning. The tribute art reminded me of Trad Moore's work, but obviously very much its own thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good books to check out. I know he worked on Wade's Daredevil for a bit. That's probably where I first became real familiar with him. Al Ewing's Defenders, also him. And he worked on the history of the Marvel Universe with Mark Waid as well, which is probably what Mark Waid is going to be doing something similar with DC in June. So there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Sanji says, I know nothing about Martian Manhunter, and this was amazing. Dennis Camp is next level. Ultimates, assorted crisis events, and now this. 3 for 3. Dennis Camp is 3 for 3. That's incredible.
We might be looking at a new Hickman.
Yeah. This is definitely the year of Dennis Camp, and I like this is the beginning, right? Like Dennis Camp's career, as far as we are all concerned, like I'm sure it's one of those 10-year overnight success things. But as far as we're concerned, it just started, right? So think about how much more there is to come, you know, as he gets better, as he has more pull and things like that. It's just incredible. It's good to see. Silhouette said DC has something here. Not just Martian Manhunter, but the audience interested in the absolute universe. We were talking to Adam Freeman on the show, and he talked about how there are, you know, people now who are saying, you know, these are their characters. Like the absolute versions are their characters. And this kind of book, this kind of weird out there book for somebody who hasn't read comics that thinks they're silly and whatever, and you come in and this is what you get. Hell yeah, this is my version of Martian Manhunter.
And Adam mentioned that Demetrios said he's seen a lot more high schoolers picking this book up.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, wild.
Which is that lost generation that Dio was always chasing after. Turns out you really did just have to completely remake these characters.
It's almost like if you market toward them, they will come.
Wow.
Well, it's funny because we've seen it work before. right? The original Ultimate line was successful at bringing new people into the fold. The New 52 was too. So this shouldn't come as a surprise, but what needs to happen is they need to capitalize. They need to not fumble the momentum that they have right now.
They
So
would
far, so good.
they would never fumble the momentum.
No.
Never.
I'm
Can't wait for that
I'm
coming
pretty
event though.
confident. I'm pretty confident in modern day DC, to be honest.
You know what?
They haven't screwed up yet, and I just cursed it. So you're welcome,
There
everyone.
it is. That's it. All right.
Marvel podcast coming back September of 2025.
Comic book history said, imagine a teenager reading Absolute Martian Manhunter. I'm
Bro,
sure that when each one of us were teenagers, we would have bought it.
imagine baby Marco reading this.
Oh, dude, this is my jam.
Yeah.
He would have like lost his mind. He would have been a New 52 head.
Baby Marco, right after he got out of seeing Turn Off the Dark, right? Spider-Man play.
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
I was like
of
7
course.
years old or something.
3 weeks ago.
Dude, I kept thinking about that after we were done. That was so funny, man.
Our money guy's complete lack of understanding on how numbers work.
All right, let's get into the poll winner, the Pals Pulse poll winner this week. You guys voted for Superman issue number 24. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to get into our review of it here in just a second. Two things though. I need to see that like number go up. There are over 90 of us here on a Thursday. That's a beautiful thing. Hit that like button if you've been enjoying it so far, enjoying what we're doing. But then also, there is a poll up right now. It goes up every single Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And it's got some heavy hitters on it. 2 Marvels and 2 DCs. We've got Immortal Thor number 22. We've got All New Venom number 5. I believe that's the issue where we're going to find out the identity of the All New Venom.
They've been edging us for a while, so it's got to be.
That's the idea, yeah.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. Birds of Prey number 20 and the current winner, JSA number 6. So if you want to influence the poll, make sure you get out and vote. YouTube.com/thecomicspals under the post tab. Get your vote on.
I'm just saying, if All New Venom wins and it does turn out to be Paul, that'd be some great material for the show.
Brilliant moment. I would love it.
We would have called it.
I don't think it's Paul.
Come on. Okay.
Well, we know it's not Luke Cage. We know it's not Man at Mask. We know it's not what's his name? Rick Jones at this point. So,
God, that would be lame if it was Rick Jones.
Oh, Rick Jones is Sleeper. He's got a different symbiote. Don't worry.
He got Sleeper?
Yeah, he's called Sleeper Agent.
Wow.
It's actually a pretty interesting design.
Okay.
That it sucks.
I think it's Al Ewing. It's Al Ewing doing some like goofy shit. It's like it's zero. He's not being heady with it. He's just having fun.
Straightforward.
Well, did we have fun with Superman number 24, Joshua Williamson on the words, of course. We've got Eddie Barrows on the art. Eber Ferreira as well. Colors by Alejandro Sanchez. Letters by Ariana Mayer. Now, we just saw all the Doomsday stuff go on. There's been a ton of Doomsday stuff. And that's on the back burner for the time being. We know that we are going to get more Doomsday in the summer. But for now, they're dealing with some other things. Mercy wants to monetize. She wants to sell some Superman merch, but not stickers and mugs and shit. She wants to sell guns with the Superman logo on it, and Superman ain't having that. Too bad she didn't wait for his approval, and things go bad, and Mercy commits a heel turn. Tyler, what'd you think about this?
This is what I was kind of not hoping would happen. I liked the forward progression for Mercy and for Lex. And sure, they do a comic booky Wookie thing to justify it at the end of the issue. But it felt like, okay, we need to put all these pieces back together for the movie that's about to come out. everything needs to get back to square one with Superman, even though I think we were having some really interesting um, storylines with Lex, a good Lex. And I don't think we really fully explored who that person is with Superman. And it feels like we're losing that. And I'm not that big of a fan. That being said, I do think it's a pretty good issue. I do like Eddie Barrows a lot. And I had fun with it, but there's a part of me that feels like, all right, Williamson has to put the toys back in the box for a bit. And I think I had trouble not seeing that reading this book.
I I felt the same way because I feel like you and I have been big proponents of like the romance aspect. It was fun to see Lex like this, and but I feel like I've gotten used to the flow of comics that yeah, it is what it is. I was having fun for during this run. I really liked the interactions we got. For whatever reason, uh, having the stamp, like the seal of uh of the House of L on like weapons, and that being like hey, we can't be doing that. It was just a silly story. Um, the getting to see Creeper was cool. The art was phenomenal because then there were the faces. That was the one gripe that I had. Like everything about the action and the flow and the fluidity and the texture of the action sequences, amazing. And every other person is going, their mouth
Yeah.
open,
Yeah.
talking through gritted teeth of some sort. That was rough to see.
Look at
Oh,
Lex.
dude, that's everybody. Everybody and
Wel-
their mothers like that. And
Welcome to being an Eddie Barrows fan.
I
Yeah.
get, yeah. Uh, but then I Creeper did a kick and it was perfectly angular. I felt the energy in it, and then he turns the page and he's smiling. It's just that was kind of a lot to handle, but I thought this was a strong issue otherwise.
Yeah, I think it's really funny that you guys are blaming this on the movie. I didn't feel that at all. It never even occurred to me. Um, because I think if that were true, I think, if they were actually really wrapping this stuff up, I think Lois would be she'd be, back on the ground again. Um but I agree with you that the watching Lex sort of get his memories back, I'm really interested to see who he becomes uh after this. I really enjoyed him. It seemed like he was processing a lot while Superman was dealing with Mercy and trying to he's trying to reconcile the fact that he has this dark past that he doesn't even know the totality of, but he also is working with Superman, and that seems like it's actually influencing his personality more than it ever has before. And then with on top of that, the twist at the end, the cliffhanger, I think could make for something really interesting.
Man, I was actually frustrated with this issue. Like I like the art. I actually I didn't read this having any art complaints. I actually forgot it wasn't Dan Mora. Um like not that I couldn't see it in the art itself, but just like I forgot Dan Mora wasn't going to be here. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like I like Eddie Barrows. I think Eddie
Mm.
Barrows is really good. And I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't have those problems. What I was bothered by was what felt to me like a very swift heel turn for Mercy.
Mm.
And like it kind of it doesn't feel eventful in any way. It's not terribly interesting. She's got Superman guns that she's selling. Obviously, he was going to find that out. And then she's selling them to people who are then immediately using them with the Superman brand on it. Like
Word.
that's dumb as fuck. You know, like I don't like that just didn't that didn't like look at this gun. How is Superman not gonna know that someone is running around with a gun with his insignia on it?
So
Um,
silly.
yeah.
Isn't it called the
Go ahead.
Super Gun too?
Some
Yeah.
shit like
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
like
Something
for
like that.
branding. Like it makes sense as like a bad Lex ploy. That makes sense. And it makes sense that Mercy would want to continue that. But I didn't care much for it.
Would she want to continue it? I feel like she's happy with, or at least what I've been getting is that she's really happy that Lex is a good dude and that she actually gets to have some agency and gets to have a relationship with this guy. This turn comes all out of nowhere to me.
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
don't disagree with that. I think the turn comes out of nowhere and I don't like how quick that was. But in terms of a hyper capitalistic person that Lex is and that Mercy is that for Supercore, this makes sense. But it being a turn is what I don't like.
Yeah, there's no like we don't sit with it long enough to have a conflict about it.
Yep.
It's an extremely like lame. Like and that's the only word I can think of. Like it's lame as fuck. Oh, hey, Superman, by the way, I want to sell guns with your insignia on it. No, I'm not okay with that. Oh, all right. 5 pages later. Oh, you sold them anyway? Yeah, I did. And by the way, I'm going to kill you now because I have kryptonite ready to die. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's all in one issue.
Surprise, Superman! It's been me all along.
Yeah.
Not to mention all in this one issue, Lex has and doesn't have facial hair about 5 different times. I was like, is there a time thing I'm missing here? What's going on?
I don't know. I've been really high on this series so far, but this issue specifically, I really, really didn't like. I don't care about Lex with red eyes at the end in a black suit. That's silly. I don't care about Mercy Metallo. That's goofy. This is just like this is whatever filler to get us to the summer of Superman. That's
Well,
what it
even
feels
to
like.
get us to issue 25, which is an oversized issue, and it's got like Jamal Campbell on art and Dan Mora and all that, it felt like, all right, we need to make that the finale of this arc. Let's get there. And it does feel
rushed.
super sped through. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to. Like I don't understand it.
I was
like,
loving the
why?
ride I was on.
I don't know. It's just weird. It's because the regime isn't changing. Like it's still going to be Williamson. What happened?
Dan Slott's on a different book. We don't need to worry about that.
Right. Uh Paul, but I didn't have a ton of fun with this one.
Same pull because I've been pulling it and I've been liking it, but I'm disappointed in the direction of the story at the moment.
Yeah, not my favorite issue of the run so far, but enough that it's still a pull for me.
Yeah, Paul, it's fine.
Let's see what the audience has to say about it. 51% of you say pull. Didn't buy or read is 37%. 7% said pass. 3% said pick of the week. Okay.
3% said pick of the week. I would love
3%,
to hear
yeah.
from them. Wow.
Matt Fisher with the 4.99. If this clone isn't Australian and has red hair, I'll be annoyed.
Is that a movie reference?
No, in the 80s, 90s, right around the time of the death of Superman, Lex had this great big long red flowing mane of hair, and I mean like 90s like Fabio, and I guess he was Australian. I don't remember that, but it was a look for Lex Luthor at the time.
That's wild. Joseph Wolf says, y'all haven't thought she's been lying this whole time, or Lex getting his memories back is what makes her do it. And then Comic Boom follows up, Mercy turning villain has been hinted at for quite some time. clues have been planted over the last year.
Wow.
Maybe I've been missing out. I didn't feel that way. My genuine interpretation was she was loving the fact that Lex was good.
Yeah, my interpretation was the opposite, was that she is traditionally not good. And this was her learning it with Lex and learning that's just a better course. And to be
Yeah.
fair, our Lex still feels that way by the end of this issue.
Right. So it's like she turned on him as well in a way.
We think.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm interested to see with Super Lex here at the end, or Bizarro Lex, or whoever this is going to end up being. Um, I think there will be some Lex work done here, with this dichotomy that I think will be, could be really interesting.
You think
Hope
we get?
it's-
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. You think we get Bad Lex back with 25?
Oh, well, I don't know about with 25, but we will definitely get Bad Lex back.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
MP and Dan Trudeau both give us the answer. Lex faked his death and put his brain in a younger
That's it.
clone of himself. He then
Yes,
publicly
yes,
claimed
yes.
he was his own lost son from Australia.
That's right. That's right.
Lex is busy getting down under in the down under at one point.
Way he was dating Supergirl at the time.
Oh, crikey.
Whoa.
Yeah. And she was, I believe this was the Matrix Supergirl. So she had like wings that were made of fire, and it was a whole fucking thing.
90s comics is a fever dream.
It's funny, man, because you think about some of the stuff we complain about, right? Like, and then you hear that at a certain point, Lex faked his death, had a clone with red hair from Australia. Like, if that happened in this comic today, I might have torn it the fuck up. That's dumb as hell. But that's comics. They got to churn these out monthly. Shit ain't easy.
That's one thing about studying soap operas. That was the first thing my professor said, was like, look, whatever you think about the quality, you damn sure better respect what they get done, because they have to put one of these out 5 times a week.
Oh yeah.
That's wild.
And comics are the exact same way.
Totally. Well, this book comes out once a month, and everything in it, we only get to see a little bit of a month. Ultimate Spider-Man. This is the March edition, the Marco Cicchetto-less edition, because joining Jonathan Hickman this month is David Messina, regular series fill-in artist David Messina, with letters by Corey Pettit, colors by Matthew Wilson. Last issue, Peter and his family needed to go on the run because Harry was shot, and Mysterio did whatever Mysterio did, and Peter dipped out. And so now the family is in an RV camp, living anonymously, living off the grid, so to speak, as Peter and his son Richard go on a little adventure as two Spider-Men to face off with the Ultimate Sandman, who's got a very similar origin to the mainline Sandman, although I would argue there's something fishy about this. And Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson get a little visit from the Kingpin. Marco, talk about Ultimate Spider-Man 15.
It always feels out of place when Spider-Man's not in the city. How does he web swing? What's going on? That's the first thing my mind went to. And then
Same,
here they
yeah.
are, flipping around, flying around. These, mm, this story of us being just kind of like out of the city, and as a repercussion of what happened, the last like a small arc. I mean, it just feels like we're on a romp now, and again, because these things don't get addressed, it's like, oh, well, that was a crazy adventure last month, huh? Well, here we are in the desert, and I'm tired of that. I want the continuity of at least a tomorrow in some of these situations. Like, let's deal with that. Nothing. We're dropping it. We're gonna go and fight this bad guy who all he had to do was ask for help, and he would have been saved. Um, I don't know, man. Um, I'm definitely getting frustrated with this book because uh, these these are less becoming straightforward uh, adventures, and they just are starting to feel disparate.
Yeah, I was gonna. You had a similar reaction to me because nothing screams Spider-Man like swinging in the Arizona desert. Like, like I don't want to be like, oh, New York City is a character in and of itself, but it kind of is when it comes to Spider-Man. So taking him out of it, I kind of get a little lost. Even shove him on like West Coast, I'm like, this doesn't feel right. No, thank you. But I'm back out, guys. I like the previous arc. I thought it was good. This did nothing for me. Like I have nothing against Messina. I like Messina's art, but I also like a consistent artist on a book. And I felt like some of this, like, again, no offense to Messina, felt like it was mimicking Chichetto, specifically in the faces for Peter and his kid. And like it's just that whole month gap just is not doing it for me. And the one time it worked for me is when it was the next day because it's a new month. But this is just like, all right, yeah, you're right, Marco. We're just not going to be in the desert next issue. Cool. All right, sick. Where are we going to be? Swamp this time? I don't know. I'm out.
I actually didn't mind the art in this issue. I don't know if it was just I caught me on a good day. I don't know. It didn't bother me that much.
We need more Martian Manhunters for Cale every
Yeah,
week.
that could be it. Well, I say that for the very, very last thing I read. And I read it I read it, Martian Manhunter, a day after everything else. So yeah, but overall, like I think my critique is not too far off everyone else's. I can't believe this is the next issue of the fallout of from the Savage Land or whatever that was.
They're joking about Harry's death. Like it's a punchline here. There's no fallout from that, emotional or otherwise.
Like, I know we'll get back around, but it just it feels Munster Design calls it casualness. It also feels like weirdly it feels like there are no consequences because we never live with anything. And we've talked about that with Mary Jane several times. I just man, I had a hard time caring about Peter and the family here. Then even like the Kingpin coming to threaten Ben and Jonah by killing all the Ben Rileys in the world. Okay, that's a move. My
And
if somebody did that with my brother-in-law, I'd be like, so like I just what a weird thing to do.
does Ben Riley have significance outside of Clone War, like Clone Saga? Like it.
Well, Riley is Aunt May's maiden name,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Ben. That's a great question. Ben, I don't know.
It's his name. So it's just
Yeah,
saying like, here's
that's
the
a
power I
great
have.
point.
It just felt like it's like, hey, reader, here's a little poke and nod
Yeah.
to something that doesn't exist in this world.
Wait,
It
what do you
just-
mean? Ben Riley is the name of the fake writer they came up with. The person that was putting
Oh, so
out.
he knows.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. All right. That was like a
Completely forgot
pseudonym
about
for it.
that.
Yeah, I forgot about that bit too. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, listen, that makes a lot more sense.
Well, when the book doesn't put any effort into reminding you of what happened, things like that can fall through the cracks. Uh, I I I don't know what to say because I like this issue in parts, but then I was really frustrated in other parts. Like, as a writer, it's very hard for me to believe that when Jonathan Hickman first thought, "Oh yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put Richard Parker in a suit." It's hard for me to believe that he did not envision us getting to see the moment where Peter learns that his son is wearing a suit.
It's true. We don't get that.
That's right. It's just like it is. Oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
How, like, that's the moment, and it doesn't happen.
And not only that, this Peter is also still new to being Spider-Man. What does he have to teach his kid?
It hasn't
There's
even
no
been a
shit.
year.
Yeah.
He doesn't know shit about being Spider-Man hardly. Harry was more of a hero than he was. Peter was just hanging out. And also, like, I like the fight with Kingpin, or rather Sandman. I thought all that was cool. Like, I was into it. But why does no one give a fuck about what just happened a month ago? Harry was murdered and they're on the run, and MJ is like, hey, you should go see what's going on over there with the thing that they say is dangerous. When is this woman gonna have a character other than enabling every single thing Peter wants to do? Everything you would think that you would want your wife to do or say in a moment, like not contest you, say everything is fine, do whatever you want. That's MJ. How is she okay with this?
You want conflict in your book, Sean?
You know what? I do. How could she be cool with this? Who in the chat? Are you married? Do you have a girlfriend? We all understand. Even if you have a boyfriend, even if you have a husband, I don't give a fuck what you got. The person you are with doesn't want you to do dumb shit. This guy does dumb shit all the time, and she's perfectly fine with it. No.
With their son.
Right.
Just
What?
some father-son bonding time, Marco. Who cares if they almost die?
Peter's like, I think I got a concussion. Ah, you're all right.
Lucas Holner said, Sean, I buy comics.
Yeah, when he started calling, like, oh, Chad, do you have girlfriend? Like, no, this is a comic book podcast, Sean. Come on.
I had to wait till my wife was out of town to go get my first copies in months.
Because you know what she would have said.
Conflict.
Yeah. Hey, do you have to spend $13 on the Flash variant?
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure she was just like, oh, hey, you know what? Here, take my wallet. Here's my
Oh,
card.
no. She didn't say Jack because she's out of the country. And I did it on the first day she was gone so that the evidence is long gone.
I'm glad none of you guys went for an accent on that one.
Oh, sure.
Munster Design here saying, my girlfriend is Mary Jane and she thinks I'm awesome and really hot. You know what, Munster? Good for you.
You won at life, dude.
Good for you.
This version of Peter won at life. I want the version of Peter whose life sucks, because I get that.
This is making me like Paul more. like it turns out I didn't want to see this relationship.
Told you.
Can't wait for Ultimate Ball. That's the next villain. That's the next arc.
Hell yeah. And then the Kingpin thing. Like, you guys talked about the Ben Reilly, and all right, they killed all the Ben Reillys. They killed every single person named Ben Reilly, but they already knew that didn't matter.
In the world.
In the world.
By the way.
And like, I get that this is a different world and there's different rules and stuff, but like, you cannot kill every person with a name in the whole planet. And they did it just to say to Ben and Jameson, like, chill the fuck out. No. What? Why not just kill them? If you're that badass, just kill them.
It's about sending a message, Sean.
So kill their family.
I think killing them is a perfectly good way to send a message. Like,
Yeah.
I want you to
Message
stop doing.
received.
I want you to stop doing this. Bang bang, done.
But it's weird because it's also like, if you're gonna threaten him, through you would imagine you threaten like the kids, and like that becomes conflict direct to Peter. You know, it's like, oh, we have photos. They're out in the desert. Did you know that? You know, like there could be something more directly tied to it.
Yeah, right. Like threatening the family, like something we would care about. You killed thousands of anonymous individuals named Ben Riley. I can't connect to that as a reader because there's nobody named Ben Riley in the fucking book. And also, I recognize how ridiculous that is. But if it was like Marco said, oh, there's actually a gun trained on your granddaughter, and they're at the RV, camp, and we know where they're at. Like, okay, cool. Something to connect to.
Or even if we like, like we completely forgot what the Ben Riley thing was, right? Even if we'd seen like awards being given to Ben Riley, right? Or extra headlines where Ben Riley was really making a difference. Like, we have no association with this, this pen name.
And you know what? Even if we had, even if his granddaughter was in his sights, what would have happened next month? We would have just time jumped to either he took the shot or didn't.
Right. And to reestablish the relationship between Richard and Black Cat that we never get to see a resolution in any conversation that they ever fucking have. He has to be texting her here because we don't know what happened since the last time they saw each other.
I also like how we have Ultimate Bullseye in the mix in this as well. With the only target he's been hitting is his foot on a pedal. Like, like we have this character that could be cool. Chauffeur.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like overall, when I read this, I was like, okay, this was decent. But the things that I think about, like when I actually think about the book, it's just like, nah, man, I can't. How can I overlook all of these problems? Just can't.
Pass.
As for me, dog, I this feels like Hickman is just doing it to write a Spider-Man book. I don't get it.
Not only is it a pass for me, but it's kind of a bummer pass for me. It's like I know it's Hickman. I wanted something else. And I know there are a lot of USM fans, Ultimate Spider-Man fans out there. Please, in the comments, let us know what we're getting wrong.
Yeah. I could be wrong about this. I think it was Tilo was saying Ultimate Spider-Man. This is the best Ultimate Spider-Man there's been. I would love to know what you're seeing here.
Tilo is a super USM fan, and Tilo said they don't want to kill them in reference to Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson. They explain why. Okay, that's fine, right? Like, they don't want to kill them. They have some goofy ass reason why not, sure. But why would they have more reason now not to continue to pursue their endeavors than they did before just because Kingpin had every Ben Riley assassinated? Just like we don't care about any Ben Riley, neither do they. Do you not agree that it would be more narratively compelling if he were threatening their families over killing anonymous people? Like, I have and I'm asking this to the audience, like, isn't that just more logical? Isn't that just a better hook? Shouldn't we have seen Peter seeing his son in the costume for the first time? Shouldn't we have seen that moment? Like, that's the moment of this entire series, and we don't even get it. I don't know.
Figure drawing says if you don't take it seriously, it's good. I don't take it seriously. It's
We're not.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like that's also like minimizing it.
Yeah.
Like, even though I'm reading them, like, yeah, I agree. I don't really take anything seriously. It's just comic books. What do I have to take seriously? Doesn't mean I have to like it.
But I would also say, like, I take everything seriously in that I'm this is a serious comic. Like, this is not I'm intended to read this critically, and I'm not like, it's not the fucking fartacular. You know, I don't know, but I don't know how to turn my brain off and read books that seem to have things to say and want to do stuff. Like, we come here to give you a critical analysis. I'm not going to turn my brain off.
Yeah, I don't want to. That's not how I
Yeah.
want to read a comic.
Well, and also, like, it's written by one of the most cerebral writers on the market right now.
In what planet would you ever think you would have to turn your brain off to enjoy a Jonathan Hickman book?
Well, I turn it off for the data sheets
Well,
because I got to skip through
well,
those.
just
Yeah.
skip them.
And the Wolverine book.
Oh,
That's
yeah, he's
fun,
kind
yeah.
of doing sleepers right now. Not like sleeper hits, but like things that are putting me to snoozers. Yeah, that's probably a better way of saying it. Yeah. Oof.
He's got his honk shoes on.
Me.
There you go.
Lucas Hallner says, I don't think you're getting anything wrong. This is just a new generation's book to hop on, and it's a lot of people's first book. They're going to love it unconditionally. I hear you, Lucas, but there are people who, like Tilo's, I respect Tilo's opinions on books. So for Tilo to say this is pick of the week and he has no problems with it, etc., like, I'm not thinking, oh, Tilo doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. I'm thinking, why? How do you arrive there and we arrive here?
What are we missing?
Exactly.
Near as Hickman in his flop era, and I don't think it's that. No, I think the current day Hickman at Marvel feels like he's getting the bag right now. He's getting his money. He's doing the Alien book, which is actually kind of fun. But creatively, he seems like all of his stuff is in three worlds, three moons. What is it called, Sean?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, okay. I feel like that's where he's putting like his real creative energy and stuff. He's building this whole world with creators and all that. Hasn't really, that Kickstarter and stuff hasn't really lit me on fire, but it feels like that's where that creative, that's where the Hickman of old that I recognize is probably working. Where this one just feels like, all right, he's getting that money. Good for him.
Tilo said none of the time issue bothers me, and I don't think Kingpin knows who Spider-Man is yet.
Doesn't, yeah.
Yeah,
But
he doesn't.
I'm not gonna. I was about to write. I was about to write the issue, but I'm not. I'm not writing the issue. I'm not Hickman.
I feel you, man. I feel you, dude.
Because dude, to that point, he could just be stalking them and suddenly discover, oh shit.
If fucking Craven knows and knew, I
Well,
have no reason to believe that Kingpin could not know. They discovered that Ben Reilly was not a real person. Craven fucking found out Peter was Spider-Man. So did he find out Harry. I have a very difficult time believing in this world that Kingpin can't learn that from a guy who is really bad at being Spider-Man. Like, colossally bad at it.
is it time to put USM on the poll?
No.
Not according
the
to
only
our
reason
metrics.
why. Go ahead.
I was gonna say not according to our metrics.
Yes.
Yeah.
From a metrics perspective, we can't do that, despite how we might feel. And frankly, I wouldn't. If there was no show and it was just me, I would still buy it, and I would still have the same problems. I'm just not going to drop this book. Let's see what you guys had to say, though. 40% say pull, 31% say pass. Didn't buy or read is 24%, and pick of the week is 4%. So those are very interesting numbers that I think are. I mean, that's more negative than positive. That's a 55%.
Yeah.
Negative.
Yeah. Figure drawing says, in my defense, your chat says pull. Actually, the chat says pass or didn't buy, didn't read.
Yeah, like the totality of our chat. So that's very interesting. And I know we have a DC leaning audience, but I do think those numbers represent, because those are people who bought it, presumably. Those numbers represent people being frustrated by this storytelling nature. Something has to change. JetX says every issue they pick the wrong things to focus on. Like them being in the desert is probably the least interesting thing that the Parkers could have possibly done this month. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
I'm kind of with you.
I would even appreciated a hey, we're in the Grand Canyon, we're just having family moments, build us a little emotionality, give me some love, like shit. I'll take that over swinging with what's his face, Sandman.
I'd rather
How-
see Peter swinging. Honestly, that might be more conflict in the relationship.
And you know what? That would actually be closer to what we get in the real book.
Tito said, I don't think we were missing that much in between issues. But don't you think that's a problem, dude? Like, I'm not a superhero, right? But things happen in a month in my life. And I feel like if I were a superhero, a lot more things would happen. And that if you didn't see me for a month or didn't hear about my exploits, a lot would occur. But in this book, it feels like absolutely nothing happens in the margins. But there are always things that do happen in the margins that should have been in the book. Again, I will say it. Richard and Peter, we should have seen the moment of him seeing his son in that costume. You cannot argue with that.
And even if like that's the only thing that happened in the book, in the break, like that's a huge thing.
I would want a whole issue of that.
Yeah.
Spider-Man has a son who's running around as Spider. That's a big deal. This book doesn't give a fuck about it in terms of like showing us the big moment.
And I'll say at this point, I find Richard to be a more interesting character than Peter.
I mean, I feel like he has more. There's like more potential there, like a burgeoning romance. He has his own trouble, like
It's more
because
Peter. Yeah.
yeah, because Peter's established. It's like, all right, fine, we can get his conflict, but I do like the fact that yeah, the younger version here having the powers, having to deal with, imagine having to deal with a dad who's a superhero too. That's interesting.
Right.
Marowak Casquero says we didn't even see Richard picking up the Venom suit. Is that true? We didn't even
No,
see him get it?
it was
No, we don't.
wasn't it the Christmas?
So no, the Christmas
No.
is when we realize, oh, the Venom suit is sentient. He stops Mary Jane, and that's where the issue ends. Next issue,
Right.
we see Venom swinging around. Who is it? Revealed it's Richard. So no, we never
Right.
really see him get it.
Yeah.
It's told that he gets it.
Look, I know what Sean said. I want this book on the poll. As a member of the panel, I understand. I want this book on the poll.
That kills the poll too, because that's gonna win.
It'll win the poll.
It's not going to get on the poll. I know. Look, I know where my standing is here. I understand. I'm saying I'm fucking done with this.
It's nothing. It's not about anybody standing. It's just about I think we all four of us like making money.
No,
we'll make less.
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'm not saying my vote is weaker than anybody else's. What I mean is the dollar speaks louder than I do somehow.
But like this book will like mess with me a bit too, because there are issues that I'm like, oh, they're cooking. What's that YouTube thumbnail meme that people use? Like, oh, is this guy cooking?
It's been 15 issues.
But then it's back to just right where I don't like about it. I'm like, oh, damn it. Okay.
But last arc was fun. We had good moments. We had good interactions. We had something happen.
If your
something
critique is
something should happen in every issue.
yeah, hey guys, what do you mean? The last arc
Imagine-
something happened. That's good.
Giving a comic book credit for something happening. Yeah, fucking right. But you know what the problem, Marco, is with this book? I think that things I want to see happen off panel. Show don't tell is like the cardinal rule, right? And how many things have we been told and not shown?
And as I'm sitting here thinking about it, like what is Hickman's disinterest in showing those things? Why doesn't he care for those interactions? Well, like
I think we can't assume that he doesn't.
No, but I'm by like he understands the concepts of what that is, right? Of show don't tell. So that means he's deliberately not doing so. But I'm trying to understand why those things aren't important to him, and it feels like he just wants to progress the story. And Maybe it's just viewing it under that lens only.
Like, what about this issue was more interesting than watching Peter grab the family, shove them in an RV, and drive to Arizona, escaping the Sinister Six?
See, it's that right there. If in a normal environment, right, where you read a book and the next month, the next issue takes place, generally speaking, right after the last one, that's exactly what would have happened. What Cale just said. 14 ends with Peter saying, "We got to get the fuck out of here." And then 15 begins with them getting the fuck out. And Mary Jane being like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" Packing the kids, everything else, right? But because of the month system here, Hickman can never do that. I don't think, to Marco's question, that it's Hickman saying, "Oh, that's boring." I think that the constraints of this gimmick just don't allow for that. And it forces them to cut moments that are mundane but actually very interesting to get to meat that's not that interesting.
And not only that, it often feels like it's not that we didn't see it happen in between issues, it's that it didn't happen. Because we get into this issue, there's no real emotional fallout to having to transplant their entire family, a job that Mary Jane runs. Also, you could give me 3 pages of someone trying to buy an RV in New York City. There's conflict there. Like, it's just doesn't exist.
That's more interesting than this issue was.
Who's
They
paying
don't
for the
care.
rental?
They don't give a fuck, dude. If I were displaced from my home, I would be freaking out. Like if there was a fire in my building and I had to go evacuate for multiple days, I'd be freaking out. These kids don't care. Their parents don't care. Why should I care? We'll leave it there. Go ahead.
I want to end. If we're leaving it there, I want to end this segment by saying figure drawing really got me with this. He says this issue gave Cale a bad paper cut. Love that.
I don't even have a response to that because like that's so dismissive. Like, whatever, dude.
No, I don't think what Cale is saying is wrong or out of bounds at all. 1000%. There does need to be respect. So
It,
yeah, go ahead.
And I'd also argue if Kel got a paper cut from this book, that would be more conflict between a book and reader than the actual book has.
Especially because I read it digital.
That'd be surprising.
That's a Hickman level conflict.
How did it happen? We'll never know. Who knows the machinations of Hickman?
God damn.
That's why you should check out Shield by Hickman instead. Better book.
Oh my god. Oh man. All right. We could talk about this all day, but let's keep things going. Thank you to all 100 plus of you that showed up on a Thursday night. Thank you for making us your review crew. We really really appreciate it. Make sure you smash the like button and we hope you enjoy the show.
it.
We're going to talk about Uncanny X-Men now. This is issue 12. This is written by Gail Simone with a very special guest artist who I thought might be here tonight, but I guess couldn't make it. Busy man. Gavin Guidry, our boy.
Wow.
Colors by Matthew Wilson. Letters by Clayton Cowles. So there's a Gambit-focused issue. Gail has promised that each of the titular characters, so the Uncanny X-Men, will each get a focus issue, and this is the Gambit Spotlight. We see a little bit more of the fallout from when Rogue was teaching the kids, and she kind of took an extreme action in the last issue. We get a little bit more of that, and it just focuses on sort of the two sides of Gambit. You have the kind, heartfelt Gambit who really cares about people and understands how to speak to people who might be in an emotional state, understands how to relate to people. But then we also see his origin. We see him as a young man, and we see him. He grew up in a criminal lifestyle. He grew up with a dad who's involved in crime. He grew up around gangsters, essentially, and how that connection stays with him throughout the rest of his life. And he has to make a choice in this issue to kind of sever that connection. In a sense. Cale, how'd you feel about this one?
Traditionally, I hate Gambit. Gambit sucks big farts and he can go away. This issue was almost my pick of the week. I enjoyed the hell out of this issue. Getting to see both sides of Gambit and just this little bit of Gambit as a kid and sort of really getting a what almost like a 101 on his uh background was really great. And like I was like, he was getting beat up in this 9-panel grid or whatever, and I was looking at it and I was like, man, this sucks. And then it turns and you see little Gambit in his stupid little overalls with his pole go after these kids, and I went, oh, actually, hell yeah. Um, I thought it was really cool to watch Gambit uh get a one up on the toughest guy in Louisiana. I thought this ruled.
Yeah, I didn't like this. I don't like this new wave of Marvel that is getting me to enjoy Gambit. Uh Gambit is stupid, and I hate that I really enjoyed this issue. I hate that
Yep.
Gavin and Cale and then like X-Men 97 did the same thing. It's like, whoa, hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and typical Wolverine too. There's this conspiracy that is making Gambit actually cool and not what someone's interpretation of what cool can be is.
Really fucking annoying.
Yeah, I don't like it. Stop it. I don't want to like this character. Yeah, it just Gale and Gavin did great work on this. This was almost a pick of the week as well. If Martian Manhunter wasn't on here, this would have been my pick. I
Same.
love a good standalone issue, and I love learning about mutants that I typically don't care about. Gambit, a character I don't give a shit about, but this the bits where he was a young, wayward child. His dad was around, but not really. And he made some, deals with some shady people, and he had to pay for it. And the fact that in the present day, he's making sure that kids in his same situation aren't doing that is great. I think that's a great lens to have Gambit in that really sheds light on where he exists in the main story of this book. I talk about how Uncanny X-Men does the character work so good. I think Gale is doing great work there. It's reminiscent of her work on Secret Six, but the plot is maybe where I kind of lose it. I don't think there's a real overarching story that has a clear path. But I think the character work is great, and it continues here. Although it's a great one and done. The one bit where Gavin is drawing Gambit slowly taking apart some mud bugs and teaching the kids how to eat it. It's just like that's human. And even like Gale, I don't know how she's nailing his voice too. Like Gambit's voice can be annoying to me. And
Yeah.
this I found it charming, and I'm like, I stop. Don't do this.
Didn't Gavin tell us that he had some he checked her notes,
Some
with some of
consulting, yeah.
the dialogue and the
Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot, and I hated that I did. So good job, guys.
yep.
I don't get the Gambit fanfare, or the hate rather, but it's cool to just learn about a character. Like, uh, he he's an interesting character, and he's giving off like dad vibes here. He's caring. He can be gentle. He's also a good foil for Rogue, who is being a bit of a hard ass recently, and he's willing to be that softer person. And she has her moment here where she apologizes for kind of going beyond the normal bounds with Jitter, but um, then for it to turn on just like, oh, this is also why Rogue loves this individual, is because he is caring. He's come from so much to get to this point, and that's transformative. And she feels that, and we feel that, and I think that was communicated really well.
Yeah, I thought this was a really strong issue. I I think Gail's biggest strength throughout, as Tyler said, is the character moments, and you know, when she can put her focus largely on one or two characters that we really care about, I think that's when this series, for me anyway, has really shown. I don't care about Gambit. I don't like Gambit, particularly. But I like Gale's Gambit. And that's just similar to like, I hate Deadpool, but Rick Remender writes a great Deadpool. This is one of those situations. Gale is applying her charm. She's charming and she knows that she's charming. Look at Gail's Twitter. She knows that she is a charming person. And so she's applying those same charms to this character whose biggest strength as a character, the reason why people love him so much is he's charming, you know? And I think that's why I never liked him as a kid because I was unaffected by that. Now, as an adult, I can see it more and I like it. The way she writes him, he's kind of a sweet guy. And I appreciate that. But she gave him a conflict here that is similar to stuff we've seen before, but not treading the exact same ground. Like if you're a Gambit fan or you're an X-Men fan, you've seen Gambit's connection to New Orleans and to crime in New Orleans and stuff like that, paying the tithe to the League. What was it? What were they called? The I don't remember. The Assassins Guild or something
I
like
think
that.
it's Assassins or Thieves Guild, maybe.
The Thieves Guild, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Skyrim
Um,
though.
Yeah, and so we do get some of that stuff, but Gambit is up against the odds. He's up against a guy that has presumably never been beaten, somebody who has been manipulating him his entire life, and Gambit he shoots the 1D with him, one on one. You know, I really like this issue. I thought Gavin Guidry did a phenomenal job. His art in this was great. Like I would be really happy to get like a Rogue and Gambit mini at least from him because those were the two characters who really stood out visually from Gavin.
There was a one page here, and I think somebody posted on Twitter that I saw Gavin reply to, but it's where Rogue and Gambit are walking out of the barn house or the house, and Rogue's just got her boots on and Gambit's shirt, and then Gambit has no shirt on and the rest of his clothes. That is Rogue and Gambit. Those two were just doing some heavy petting. Like they can't get their hands off each other. And I think that's like a cool, subtle way of displaying that without actually having to show it.
Yeah. Yeah, and there were a lot of moments where you can kind of feel that the relationship between those characters and again it's Gail's greatest strength. The My only critique, it's not even a critique of this issue. So I don't apply this to the issue, but I just wish there was a through line to follow for this book. Because I just don't care about the kids. I don't know what it is, but I'm tired of new X-Men, I guess. Like there's too many. Every writer has their crop of new X-Men. Even right now in this era, this book has a new crew of X-Men. Exceptional has a new crew of X-Men. So we get that a lot. I don't care about that. But if this book could just focus on, emotional beats and big, plot stuff with these core characters, it'd be one of the best books on the stands every month.
And I think too that the kids are used really smartly here. So like even if you have to include a new group of students or whatever, like the way Gale uses them in this issue, she shows that Rogue has done something that she has to apologize for. She has to be the adult in the room. That's cool. That's good. That's growth for Rogue.
Yeah.
And then we also get to see Gambit, sort of step into this adult, fatherly role. That's growth for Gambit. And we watch him sort of keep them from, like we said earlier, keep them from doing what he had to do as a kid. That rules. It's a different type of depth than we've ever gotten from a new, a title with a new group of X-Men. And I think that's where Gale could really make a difference with this title, but she hasn't done that yet.
Pull.
Yeah, pull.
Pull.
Almost my pick of the week.
Yeah, same for me.
Now, well, before I get to what I was going to say, let's see the poll results here. Mark, you want to read them off, please?
Sorry, I was updating my stats.
Oh, my bad.
I got it. It's
yeah.
yeah. So didn't buy or read at 45%, poll at 28, pass at 13, and pick of the week at 13.
Okay. Now, the last time we reviewed this book, we were not that happy with it. And we said we would give it another issue, this one, of course, because we got to support Gavin. And then we would decide if we are going to continue to read Uncanny X-Men on the show or if we're going to push it to the poll and let you guys decide and just, because it basically claims a space on the docket every time it comes out. So do you want us to move it to the poll or do you want it to stay on the show? That's what we're going to determine right now. So I'm going to go ahead. Hey, Gavin just arrived.
Whoa.
Has been summoned.
Yeah,
didn't want to hear our review. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Okay.
Wow.
You literally just missed us reviewing your book and singing your praises, Gavin. So you arrived a little bit late, but we're happy to have you anyway. Congratulations, man. This was really awesome. You did an amazing job.
You made Tyler and I care about Gambit.
Yeah, don't
How
do
dare
that.
you?
Stop it. I think I warned him about that too at New York Comic Con. I was like, don't do it. Because we had known this was, if I'm reading Ultimate Wolverine and I also like that, and I know you helped consult on that, you're gonna hear from my lawyers.
Villain shit.
All right, I'm just getting this poll up.
You know, I would rather this stay on the show than Ultimate Spider-Man.
Honestly,
I'll say it.
same. There's at least more variation here. And also, if this goes on the poll, if this lines up with the same weeks that the same DC books come out, that's going to be against Superman and Justice League.
Ooh,
putting this on the poll is putting it out to pasture, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. It's just such a strong title. Yeah, it's gonna win.
You mean this, Marco, or?
I think it's like if you put this up, it will win.
No.
Depending on, you don't think so?
No, because it comes out the same weeks as Justice League and Superman, which are also on the poll.
I think Justice League alone would walk all over it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. People like their X books.
One way to find out. Do we
I
have a
guess so.
DC leaning audience or do we have an X-Men leaning audience? Because we know it's not Marvel leaning.
So Cale and Tyler want to see this stay. Is that the?
Yeah.
I think given any week, I would like to talk about it. Sure. Yeah. But if there's bigger stuff out that week, I'd understand it, it going to the poll because of that.
Marco, where do you stand? With Gavin here, where do you stand?
Say it, coward.
I really liked the first half of last issue, the spacey, all that stuff. I love that. I know that Gale is capable, and then it becomes these interpersonal pieces that, like the grounded things. I'm just like, oof. I want to say keep it because at some point, I hope at some point, fingers crossed, they'll be like, Gale, do what you want, go for it, get there, and then. She gotta have that pan, high heat, olive oil, man. You gotta hear the sizzle on that steak.
Hell yeah, cook that shit till it's well done. You gotta
cook that shit till it's
hands.
medium, a nice medium rare.
Olive oil? You're gonna use olive oil for that?
You don't use olive oil?
It depends on how you're cooking it.
There's
a different smoke point.
Yeah.
Depends on what pan you're using.
That wasn't a criticism. That was a question.
Yeah, olive oil, salt, pepper. That's it.
Olive oil. Interesting.
I think
Fresh news in the chat. Don't be cute. I'll ban you, dude. I don't give a fuck. Don't be cute. You you can't get over on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the host. I have the power. You don't. Don't fuck with me. My answer is I I kind of like I'll buy this book whether we talk about it on the show or not, but I just haven't been loving it enough to keep to say enthusiastically I wanted to stay on the show. This issue was great, but I
Yeah.
just feel like I haven't felt that way about maybe the last half
Yeah.
of the issues we've read.
Yeah. And I was thinking about this as well, about how much I like this issue versus all the other ones. And had Ultimate Spider-Man not come out this week, I think I would feel very differently. But man, that book pisses me off.
Okay, hold on a second. Marla Obscura has a good point. Without USM, this will finally be a DC podcast. We need to keep both. I'm sorry. I will not let this become a DC podcast. We got to have some Marvel representation. Come on, Marvel. What are you doing?
Well, what happens is it does make space for other books. Like, I think there are definitely books that could have made the show this week that didn't. I mean, especially on a week like this, as big as it was, that could have made it if there was more space.
A DC
So
book, another Marvel book, maybe a DC book.
Yeah, I'm looking at the
probably a
list. I'm
Marvel
like,
book.
oh yeah, Justice League, Superman. Because you know what's not going on the list? Amazing Spider-Man right now. Amazing Spider-Not? No, thank you.
I
this
was very
spec-
interested in that.
read it.
Yeah,
We'll see how interested you still are.
Yeah, well.
That was a threat. Like, we could have read X Manhunt Omega #1, which turns out, Marco, that first bit of Gale's with the Shi'ar and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Turns out X Manhunt was a stealth launch for Imperial, so you'll get more of that with Jonathan Hickman coming up.
Huh.
Oyabun says the more shows get done with 2 or less Marvel books, the harder it gets to beat the DC allegations. Listen, we're not a Marvel podcast. We're not a DC podcast. We're just a comics podcast. That's for all our wrestling fans. If you get it, you get it. But that being said, we're just going to read whatever's best that week or whatever's most interesting. So, I don't know, maybe
whatever will get us the most views and clicks. And
there you go. Yeah.
Probably reading manga at this point then.
Well.
I didn't say that.
Roger Hernandez makes a good point. Wouldn't putting it on the poll give indies even less of a chance? I'll tell you what. If I could have swapped Uncanny X, I wouldn't have swapped Uncanny X-Men this week. But let's say let's say we had a phantom spot, right? To add something to the pile. I would have chosen We're Taking Everyone Down with Us. That's the new Matt Rosenberg Image book. That's what I would have personally picked. So maybe not. Maybe we don't lose Indy.
Free for all. I would put out that Patrick Horvath book. I got that. I'm gonna read that after tonight.
Yo, chat. Stop with the stack numbers. I can't keep up with that. I'm not scrolling up this far. What is this? Stop this.
They must be tired. They must be tired.
The
All right,
floor
I
isn't open
guess
for numbers yet.
I guess that means we should get to it.
I think that means
We're being
those
rushed.
are null. Those do not count. The slide's
Post
not
them
up
when
yet.
we call for them. Damn.
Oh my God. Matt Fisher just said, with the $4.99 super chat, my Uber passenger just asked me if this was Joe Rogan.
Are you listening to it
Oh.
without headphones in an Uber?
Oof,
How are you
absolute
typing?
maniac.
Losing social credit now.
Yo, Matt Fisher, you are the man, bro. Thank you for spreading the gospel. You listen to this show without headphones. You let your audience know that there is a show that they should be listening to. That's right, the Comics Pals. Go on you. If you can hear me right now, you're Matt Fisher's passenger. I shouldn't be saying his whole government. Make sure that you subscribe to us on youtube.com/the Comics Pals. Thank you.
And I also say there's still stuff in those JFK files we don't know about. I'm just saying there's a lot of redacted stuff. So if
I don't
that's
even know
the
what you're
type,
talking about, and I 1,000% agree with you. Just like Joe Rogan.
All right. The results are in. The results are in for
Drum roll.
the poll. Marco, what are the results?
55% for keep it on the show and put it on the poll 44. So we're keeping it on. That's it. You have spoken.
All right. It stays on the show. You guys win.
Here we go.
Win one, another one for the good guys. We will check back in, and we're gonna do this with most like A+ books. We'll check in and see if you guys want us to give it a break, keep it going, stuff like that. Did we miss a super chat? Is that what I was about
There
to
was
do?
one right above another Matt Fisher special.
Okay, go for it.
Oh, I have it.
Yeah.
Off topic, but X-Men adjacent. This is driving me nuts. Why is Wolverine in his brown costume on the X-Men #1 cover, but yellow and blue inside? Hey, covers lie to you, man. They're liars.
What X-Men #1?
Yeah, like
Jim
that's
Lee?
cut. There's 50,000 X-Men #1s, my brother. Which one?
Is it the Jim Lee one? Then this has been bothering you for a while, and I would recommend letting it go. Yeah, he's talking about the Jim Lee one. He's brown on that one. Yeah, Matt, you gotta just let this one go. You can't let this bother you.
Brother, if we ever manage to get Jim Lee on here, we'll ask him for you. How about that? You've been such a great supporter. We'll get that question in. There's one more thing we got to do before the stack, which is we got to talk about our pick of the month.
No, we don't. It's easy. I already know it.
Okay.
Martian Manhunter. That's my pick of the month. I didn't even have to think about it. I was in a packed cafe, and I literally said, "Holy shit," when I did the paper thing. No other book did that. So, easy pick.
You're saying Sonic didn't make you go, holy shit, this exists? Sonic and DC?
I was like maybe shaking with excitement, but I did that in the comfort of my own home so nobody can see me being a Sonic fanboy.
Vigorously just turned blue. Yeah, Martian Manhunter. That melted my brain for a little bit.
Yeah, for me, the only other contender is the other Dennis Camp book on my list, which was Assorted Crisis Events. And I really, really enjoyed that book. But man, Martian Manhunter fucking got me.
I'm torn between Absolute Batman and Absolute Martian Manhunter. I really liked issue 6 of Absolute Batman, but I think I have to go with Martian Manhunter. It was just too
Wow.
mind bending.
So what did we learn
Because
this week? We learned that Marvel needs to stop with the Gambit stuff, and Dennis Camp also needs to probably chill a bit.
Please don't chill. Keep it up. Was that unanimous, by the way?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
Pick of the week
that might,
and pick of the month.
that's,
Wow.
I don't think that's happening again for the rest of the year.
I'm gonna need a new category.
Could it happen again? Well, Marco's our stats guy. This is sure we could do this off the top of our heads, but Marco makes sure that we have the data available to be able to do this. So thank you for that, Marco. Hopefully by the end of the year, if there is this kind of situation again, we'll have that data from Marco and maybe it's pick of the year. Maybe we're looking at that kind of deal.
Anytime I think of Marco trying to crunch the numbers on this, I just think of Leroy Jenkins and then that one guy crunching the numbers about survival.
I got so mad when I found out that was fake.
Oh, same dude. It's still great.
Yeah.
But
Matt Fisher with the 199. It's either this or karaoke on Thursday. So what I'm going to need, Matt, is an audio file or video. I would love a video of you doing karaoke. That sounds perfect.
if you get a gun to your head, you got to do karaoke right now. What song are you picking?
I'm taking the bullet.
That's wild. Don't stop me now, Queen.
You're going Freddie Mercury. Wow, you
Hell
some
yeah.
balls on you.
Good one.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I don't mind, but you can go, Cal.
I think mine might be Bonnie Tyler's I Need a Hero.
Oh,
Wow.
mine's Freak on a Leash by Korn.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
good.
tremendous.
All right, I won't be a loser. I'll answer the question. I'm gonna say, but you have to sing it in front of other people. I guess that's the gimmick of karaoke.
Let's just say it's a group of your close friends. You're in one of the rooms. You're not in the karaoke where it's in front of just random strangers.
Right. I'll do Tool. I'll do Right in Two by Tool. I'm sure no one will know that song, but that's what I'll do.
I'm imagining it's just mostly instrumental.
No.
No, okay. All right.
It's got the best singer in metal, Maynard James Keenan. All right. Let's get into the stack. This was a heavy week. You guys know this was a massive, massive week in comics. How many of the great books that came out this week did I buy? That's the question we're here to answer. Whoever is closest to the number without going over wins either a no prize or the code, the digital code for any of the Marvel books that I picked up this week. My shop was absolutely stacked. I don't know about you guys. My shop was packed.
Mine was dead empty. I went
Really?
first thing in the morning, and I walked in and went, "Whoa!" Because the other times I've been in, it's been absolutely packed. I've had to fight. I walked in, got the 3 covers I wanted, got to flip through and look for new covers. Empty.
I went right before clothes, so they were pretty much empty. But I wanted to grab Uncanny physically. They didn't have it. Apparently, Diamond has been shipping their Marvel stuff a day or two late for like the past 4 months. So there's that in action. That was a bummer.
Terrible. Marco, what was your experience?
It was really good. I went in, got my books, came out. I went in the middle of the workday. I just took like half my lunch was just walking to go pick up books, relatively empty. Came back in.
Okay. Yeah, I mean my shop was packed to the gills. It was crazy. Um and I saw the old heads and I was like mentally scanning them like I know you're here for fucking Batman 158. I know that's what brought you here. I know it. I smell it. Um
Yuck.
yeah, for real.
Yeah.
It felt good though. Like it felt like a moment, just to see all those people there, to see the excitement. There were like kids there, like teenagers there, like people from all ages. And my shop had a ton of copies of 158, but they were flying, dude. And I was there pretty early, so I can't imagine what it looks like, say, tonight. They probably sold out or something, but this is what happens. Like we all, none of us loved Batman 158, and none of us were like over the moon with it. But that doesn't matter. Like that's not the most important part. To me, the most important part is that it brought people out.
It's not for me, but I'm glad it exists.
Yeah. Steve Canara said, "Did anybody get the oversized Hush? Gaudy comic, but a bit overcompensating, I think. I think Atomic Hound got it, no? I believe he shared
I
that
don't
on
know.
Discord.
I didn't know it existed.
I haven't seen that yet.
Dan Trudeau said, I fell asleep with this going on my TV. I just had a dream that was your audio, but you were in a boardroom.
That reminds me. I forgot to say this during the book club. So I'm reading Jessica Jones right before bed. I'm fucking dreaming in Bendis speak.
No way.
I'm not kidding.
Are the bubbles like floating around you?
It's you and me talking in the way that Bendis writes. The way that Bendis writes? The way, how he does the thing where he
Right.
writes the way Bendis writes.
Sure, yeah. The way that
And
he
it was
writes.
just like, and like my brain is going, oh, this is Bendis. I know this is Bendis writing my dreams. I've got fucking Jessica Jones going through my head. This is Bendis.
Cale, what are you talking about? We're just having a chat. I don't know what you're referring to.
It's, man, it sucked.
That's fucked up.
Cale talks in Bennett speaks. It's man.
I had a dream the other night that I was on a date with a shrunken person, but that's neither here nor there.
Like a bug war shrunk person?
No, just like 3 foot, but like just proportionally shrunken down. It was weird.
New fetish unlocked, man.
Ooh, closed door on that one. I think it was a fever dream. It was like a little Anxious. All right, let's get these numbers in before I reveal more about myself.
Moving
Let's do it.
swiftly on. All right. I forgot who it was.
Swiftly on, and then pauses.
I forgot who it was earlier, but they got I don't even remember what they're sorry. Yours is gone. I don't remember. All right, here we go. For the stack, we're starting with C.W. Gordon coming in at 21. James Jones, perennial winner, 19 on the stack. Near, never far away from James Jones, 17. Lucas Holner's got 18. Rami Darwish has 19. Monster Design says 32. Mr. Funiverse says 18. Should have been 19 because of Harley. Well, listen, we don't know what's on that stack yet. Figure Drawing says 17. Hayden's Hideout says 20. Gavin says 23. And if Gavin wins, he said he wants the code for the digital copy of Uncanny. Power move. Oyabun says 29. MX Mothman says 25. Dan Trudeau says 16. Simple J says 25. Steve Kinnair says 24. Venomark says 17. Entertain me says 8. Sean wishes it was 8. Matt Fisher says 42.
It's the answer to the universe, right?
Got just a couple more here. Sorry. Matt Fisher says 42. Marowak Escuro says 22. Sean Ali says 20. And Entertain Me said 8 again. I heard you the first time.
So this might be the biggest stack on record since we've been doing this.
Relapse.
I
Yeah.
definitely did not do good. I didn't. We've got the 6 that we talked about for the show. And if I pull out a book and it is in bag and board, it means I read it already. So here we go. Exceptional X-Men number 7. This was something I missed last week, so I had to grab it. I liked it. I think the series is awesome. This, by the way, this silhouette right here, not bullshit.
Oh,
That is who you
yeah.
think it is.
Yeah, it was revealed in the previous issue, yeah.
I'm behind a couple issues, 2 issues, I think.
And yet Sean still liked it, so that says a lot.
I think it's great.
Is it that guy?
Oh, it's him.
Okay.
You'll Do Bad Things, number 1.
Oh, you did pick it up. Sick. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The podcast might not be able to beat the anti-indie allegations, but my stack definitely does. This was a Tyler Boss. I forget the name of the artist, Turtolici. This was really good too. Not my favorite of the indie books that I read this week, but this was pretty solid. I think if you guys try it, you'll like it. Peacemaker, the Peacemaker thing. What is this? Vigilante Eagly double
Oh, yeah.
feature. Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have it downloaded, so we'll
What
see.
did you expect?
I bought it from Mitch Gerrits, and that was great. He was great. So, Amazing Spider-Man number 70. I am just so over this fucking era.
Hate reading it.
Yeah, dude. Wow. Spider-Not. Fuck out of here. Justice League Unlimited number 5. Hayden's Hideout had asked earlier what I thought of this. I thought this was a good issue. I'm super over the Justice League putting out fires and all that stuff. They're still doing that kind of thing in this issue. There is a reveal at the end that ties into loosely maybe something else that we read this week, and I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. Well, maybe we'll be able to talk about it more in a few weeks. But there is a major reveal that just I don't know. I don't know how to talk about it. Vampirella number 1. Why not?
Good.
I mean, he read it.
Yeah. Christopher Priest. He did his thing. It was fun.
Big time relapse. Sean's back on the Gooner books.
He's back on the why not books, which is like
send him back to rehab.
Yep, you guys are definitely right about that. Ultimate Black Panther 14. This book is stuck in La La Land. We're taking everyone down with us. This was fire. Go get it. This was so good. This isn't cover A. I
That's
don't I
Mateo.
don't know. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Yo, unbelievably good book. Matthew Rosenberg put his ass in this. The art is fantastic. I didn't know what to expect. Knocked me off my feet.
All right.
Ultimate Wolverine, best issue of the series yet. This was awesome. Gambit's in it. Rogue is in it. If you like this series so far, you're gonna love this. Wolverine Revenge, Red Band. This is it for the Red Band. This is over. This is the last issue. So that's it.
What a dry fart of a comic that's been, huh?
I've loved it.
Really?
But I'm in the minority. Yeah.
Okay, you do recognize you're in the minority there, though, because I think the discourse, quote unquote, is not great on that.
Totally. I had to do this. I had to. I grabbed another Batman 158, but I did go ahead and do an incentive variant. This is the Liber Mayo
Oh,
cardstock variant.
card stock. Damn, that was at
Yeah.
$10.
Somewhere in there, Marco.
Mm-hmm.
I could call Bean for a loan.
Fantastic Four, number 30. I'll speed through these because I didn't read them. Green Lantern 21. The Seasons, number 3. Challengers of the Unknown, number 3. I have a problem that's like it'd be a long story to explain, but I am missing a lot of comics. And I think it's because of that dumbass pull list where I didn't put everything on it, and so I have a gap in certain books, and that was
It's
one.
like Memento, but for comic book purchases.
I'm so annoyed about it. The Last Halloween, number 6. Department of Truth, 29. Bitter Root, the next movement, number 1. A couple of listeners asked me to pick this up, so I said, all right.
Have you read the rest of it, the other stuff?
No.
Okay,
No.
okay. Oh,
Have
interesting.
you?
No, but it's been on like the list. It's one of those image books. Let me know let me know if it's good to catch up on because I saw it. I like the cover.
Okay.
Space agey.
Yeah, I have a good feeling about it. I mean, it's David Walker and Sanford Green.
Yeah.
Chuck Brown, so great creatives. Green Arrow, number 22. People keep talking about it. I'm gonna give it a shot. Everybody's favorite, Monstrous, number 56.
You
There it
gotta
is.
get yourself to rehab. Sean said, no.
No. The Mummy, number 1.
Ah.
You on Pal's previews, you said you had no interest in that book.
I didn't. No, I didn't. Go back and listen. No way. I didn't say that. I was interested. I love the Mummy.
I asked if anyone was picking it up, and everyone was like, "No."
No,
I definitely know.
I said yes.
I don't
I
even remember you
edited-
asking.
I edited the show, so I've listened to this like 5 times.
Go back, bro, because there's no way I would ever say that. I love the Mummy. The Mummy ride is like my favorite ride. Not that has anything to do with the comic.
I never got to do that one. It was down the last time I went. I did the one in California, but it's not as good.
Gotta go back, bro. And last but not least, The Incredible Hulk, number 23.
That book is good. Real good series.
Fucking hell. I think that's 28.
I had 27, but I tend to trust your counting a little more than mine. So, this is so many books that like the recount is just brutal. 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 27, 28. Cale's right.
Wow. Wow. That is. It is officially the highest that you've ever gotten. Not only that, remember the beginning of this year where you accidentally like the books got pushed over or whatever it was? That's one more than that.
Oh my god, dude. So
Wow.
bad. I gotta cut some books. This ain't good.
Wow, your average went up. You're averaging 17, almost 18 books a week now.
You know who I blame for that, Marco? I blame the comic book industry for putting out so much fucking fire. What do you guys want me to do when this is a stack of quality books? This ain't garbage. This is good stuff.
I think that The winner is MX Mothman with 25.
Really?
We had 29. They didn't
Yeah.
go over, or they went over.
Yeah,
So
Mothman,
MX
Simple J.
Mothman and Simple J had 25, and they were the closest without going over.
Okay.
And
Feel free to reach out if you want any of these Marvel codes. I've got a bunch of Marvel books in the stack. And outside of that, if anybody else wants any of these copies, the digital codes, feel free to reach out. I'm not stingy with them. I will freely give them away.
no Patrick
Gavin.
Horvath? That free for all book?
Oh, wait. I
That came out
missed
this week.
that.
I'm very excited for that one. And then I got seasons too, so I'm excited to read that one.
Oh, fuck. Did anybody else pull anything that was off Pals polls? Tyler, Cale?
Not that I got a chance to read. I only got to read the stuff for the show just now. But I do have. We're taking everyone down with us. You'll do bad things and something else too that I was excited for. Seasons, yeah. Ooh, look at me, Indy.
I got the Flash Jeph Lemire cover.
Oh
yeah,
that's the good one. Yeah,
I love that cover so much.
get a frame.
All versions of it, every homage. It's a tremendous cover. That I think I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna add it to my New Gods collection. Then I'm gonna make it like a white whale. I want every version of that cover.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the bug. You guys are killing me.
That's Pals polls. The point was rehab. The point was to help me initially bring my stack down. But not only is my average going up, now we're infecting Cale. Cale's trying
Spreading
to.
the wealth.
Yeah, this is crazy. Well, speaking of the wealth, we're gonna need some freaking wealth to be able to keep up with these numbers, and so we need you guys to come back. We need you to come back on Saturday. We need you to come hang out with us Saturday, 10:15 a.m. Eastern. Come with your super chats because Jesus, all right, every one of these is worth one Matt Fisher super chat, pretty much. And I got 28 books this week. This was an incredible week. This is why we love comics, man. This was such a great week for comics, and it won't be like this every week, but you got to cherish the weeks that it is. Cole said, "Wasn't Sean trying to cut books? Now the average is increasing, dude. It's hard out here."
Lucas pointed out that Ultimate Black Panther was last week. Are you sure you didn't double buy?
I'm positive I didn't double buy because I missed it last week. I missed that and Exceptional last week. Whoa, sorry. Flaming Jelly Bean says, "Gets 100 likes before we're out of here." I love that. Smash that like button on your way out. Show up this Saturday if you want to hear our thoughts about the Diamond sale to Alliance Entertainment, which is big news. The reveal of the cast for Avengers Doomsday, which is what it is. And everything else that's happened in comics this week. We're going to talk about it all this Saturday on the Comics Pals main show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will see you then. Until then, take care.